1. All right, let's dive a little deeper into this 1984 Buick LeSabre, shall we? This particular model is part of the 5th generation of full-sized Buicks, which means it's got all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a top-of-the-line car of its era. We're talking body-on-frame construction, which gives it that solid, sturdy feel on the road. And let's not forget about that column gear shift. It's a classic feature that adds to the vintage charm of this ride. Now, I know some folks might be hesitant about buying a car that's almost 40 years old, but let me tell you, they just don't make them like this anymore. The LeSabre was built to last, with a reputation for reliability and longevity. And when you factor in the meticulous maintenance and care that this particular car has received over the years, you can rest assured that you're getting a vehicle that's got plenty of life left in it. But beyond the mechanical stuff, let's talk about the aesthetics. The wire wheel covers and white wall tires are a perfect complement to the brown frost exterior, giving it a classic, refined look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And inside, that brown, pillow-top velour interior is like stepping into a time machine. It's got that cozy, old-school vibe that's hard to find in modern cars. Of course, as with any used car, there are bound to be a few imperfections. But from what I can see in the photos, any flaws are minor and don't detract from the overall beauty and charm of this LeSabre. At the end of the day, this car is a rare find. It's not often that you come across a vintage vehicle that's been so well preserved and cared for over the years. And with its combination of classic style, comfortable ride, and reliable performance, it's the kind of car that you'll be proud to own and drive for years to come. So if you're ready to experience the nostalgia and charm of a bygone era, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1984 Buick LeSabre. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. 2. We've got a real gem for you, a 1967 Ford Falcon that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $9,000. This classic beauty is a true head-turner, and it's easy to see why. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this Falcon. The seller describes it as excellent, and from what I can see in the photos, I've got to agree. The custom paint job looks absolutely stunning, with a glossy finish that's sure to catch the eye of anyone who sees it. And with only 73,000 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a reliable 6-cylinder engine that's paired with a smooth-shifting automatic transmission. And with rear-wheel drive, this car is built for cruising down the highway in style. The seller notes that it runs great, which is always a good sign when you're buying a classic car. Now, I know some folks might be hesitant about buying a car that's over 50 years old, but hear me out. The Ford Falcon is a true icon of American automotive history. It was a popular choice back in the day for its affordability, reliability, and style. And today, it's a sought-after collector's item that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. But beyond the mechanical stuff, let's talk about the aesthetics. The coupe body style is a classic look that never goes out of fashion. And with that custom paint job, this Falcon has a unique personality all its own. It's the kind of car that you'll be proud to show off at car shows and cruise-ins. Of course, as with any used car, there are bound to be a few imperfections. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, any flaws seem to be minor and don't detract from the overall beauty and charm of this Falcon. At the end of the day, this car is a true Sunday driver. It's the kind of vehicle that you take out on a nice day, put the windows down, and just enjoy the ride. And with its combination of classic style, reliable performance, and affordable price tag, it's a great choice for anyone who's looking to get into the world of classic car ownership. 3. We've got a fun little classic for you, a 1975 Chevrolet Monza that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $4,000. This compact car may be small in size, but it's big on personality. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Monza. The seller doesn't explicitly state the overall condition, but based on the information provided, it seems to be in pretty good shape. The car runs and drives, which is always a good sign. And with only 10,167 miles on the odometer, this Monza has plenty of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. That's right, folks. This little car has some serious power behind it, and with its lightweight body, you can bet it's a blast to drive. Inside, the front seats have been newly reupholstered, which is a nice touch, and the seller has also installed new floor carpet, so the interior is looking fresh and clean. Plus, the seller mentions that they have all the chrome and hubcaps, which is great news for anyone who wants to restore this car to its former glory. Now, I know some folks might be hesitant about buying a car that's almost 50 years old. But here's the thing. The Chevrolet Monza is a true classic. It was introduced in 1975 as a subcompact car that was designed to compete with the likes of the Ford Mustang II and the Toyota Celica. And while it may not be as well known as some other classic cars, it's still a fun and unique ride that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Plus, this particular Monza is smog exempt, which means you won't have to worry about passing any pesky emissions tests. That's a big plus for anyone who lives in an area with strict smog regulations. Of course, as with any used car, there are bound to be a few imperfections. The seller doesn't mention any specific issues, but it's always a good idea to give the car a thorough inspection before making a purchase. At the end of the day, this 1975 Chevrolet Monza is a fun little classic that's perfect for anyone who wants to stand out from the crowd. With its powerful V8 engine, newly reupholstered interior, and smog-exempt status, it's a great choice for anyone who's looking for a unique and affordable classic car. 4. We've got a real beauty for you, a 1969 Ford Galaxy 500 that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $7,500. This full-size sedan is a true American classic, and it's got plenty of charm and character to spare. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this Galaxy. The seller describes it as good, and based on the information provided, it seems like this car has been well maintained over the years. With only 38,000 original miles on the odometer, this Galaxy has plenty of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a 302 V8 engine that's paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission. The seller notes that the car runs great and shifts smoothly, which is always a good sign. And with all the recent upgrades, including new tires and wheels, shocks, and chrome accents, this Galaxy is looking and running better than ever. Now, I know the seller mentions a few cons, like the torn upholstery and carpet and the cracked dash. But let's be real. These are minor issues that can be easily fixed. The important thing is that the car runs fantastic and is reliable enough to drive any distance. And let's talk about the style of this Galaxy for a moment. The blue paint may not be perfect, but it still looks nice from a distance. And with those classic lines and chrome accents, this car is sure to turn heads wherever you go. Plus, the seller mentions that you get plenty of thumbs up while driving around. And who doesn't love a little attention? Of course, as with any used car, there are bound to be a few imperfections. The seller is upfront about the rust and the non-operational radio and speakers. But these are all things that can be addressed over time, and they don't detract from the overall charm and character of this classic ride. At the end of the day, this 1969 Ford Galaxy 500 is a true gem. It's got a powerful V8 engine, a smooth-shifting automatic transmission, and plenty of recent upgrades that make it a reliable and enjoyable car to drive. And with its classic style and affordable price tag, it's a great choice for anyone who's looking to get into the world of classic car ownership. 5. We've got a gorgeous 1951 Ford Victoria that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $9,500. This two-door coupe is a true vintage beauty that's been built with love and care by a longtime member of the Gents Car Club. First off, let's talk about the style of this Victoria. It's got that classic 1960s hot rod look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The custom bumpers, dual antennas, and shaved chrome and stainless give it a sleek and clean appearance that's just begging to be shown off. And with those baby moon chrome wheels and new tires, this car is ready to hit the road in style. Under the hood, you'll find a flathead V8 engine that's paired with a 3-speed manual transmission on the floor. The seller notes that the motor seems to run great and has a nice dual exhaust, but they're not a flathead expert and have noticed that it tends to get hot fast. But don't let that deter you. This car has been converted to 12V and has a new alternator and temp sensors in each head, so it's got plenty of potential for the right buyer. Now, I know the seller mentions that the car needs to be trailered or transported, but that's just part of the charm of owning a vintage hot rod. And with all the receipts for the work that's been done, you'll have a good idea of what you're getting into. But let's talk about the real reason why you're interested in this car, the way it makes you feel. Imagine cruising down the street in this classic Victoria, with the wind in your hair and the rumble of that flathead V8 in your ears. It's the kind of experience that only a true hot rod can provide, and it's something that you'll never forget. Of course, as with any vintage car, there are bound to be a few imperfections. The seller is upfront about the fact that the motor tends to get hot fast, and that they're not a flathead expert. But with a little bit of TLC and some expert attention, this car has the potential to be a real showstopper. At the end of the day, this 1951 Ford Victoria is a true gem. It's got the vintage style, the powerful engine, and the potential to be a real head-turner. And with its affordable price tag and clean Washington title, it's a great choice for anyone who's looking to get into the world of classic hot rods. 6. We've got a stunning 1978 Chevrolet Camaro that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $12,000. This classic muscle car is in excellent condition and is sure to turn heads wherever you go. First off, let's talk about the exterior of this Camaro. The seller mentions that it has a new front end, which is always a good sign. And with no rust to be found, you can tell that this car has been well maintained over the years. The power windows are also a nice touch, adding a bit of modern convenience to this classic ride. But let's be real. The real magic happens under the hood. The seller notes that this Camaro runs strong, which is exactly what you want to hear when you're buying a classic muscle car. And with a rebuilt and balanced drive shaft, new U-joints, brakes, spindles, rotors, and sway bars, you can feel confident that this car has been given the attention it deserves. Inside, the interior is described as nice, which is always a plus. After all, you want to be comfortable while you're tearing up the road in this beast of a machine. Now, I know the seller is only interested in serious inquiries, and I can respect that. A car like this deserves to go to someone who truly appreciates it and will give it the love and care it needs. So if you're just looking to kick the tires or take it for a joyride, this probably isn't the car for you. But if you're a true Camaro enthusiast who's been searching for that perfect classic ride, this 1978 model might just be the one. With its excellent condition, strong engine, and new front end, it's got all the makings of a true collector's item. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to ask plenty of questions and get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this Camaro seems like a solid investment for the right buyer. So if you're ready to experience the thrill of driving a classic Camaro, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1978 model. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one turning heads at the next classic car show. 7. We've got a gorgeous 1972 Ford Mustang that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $10,000. This classic pony car is in good condition and has plenty of unique features that are sure to impress. First off, let's talk about what's under the hood. This Mustang is rocking a factory 302 V8 engine with a 2-barrel carburetor. The engine has been rebuilt once by the previous owner, so you know it's got plenty of life left in it. And while it's been converted to electronic ignition, everything else in the drivetrain is factory original. The rear end has also been professionally rebuilt, with new axle bearings and spider gears, so you can feel confident that this Mustang is ready to hit the road. And with new brakes, including a new booster and master cylinder, you'll have plenty of stopping power when you need it. Now, let's talk about the exterior. This Mustang is sporting a beautiful yellow paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. It's currently riding on rally wheels with hubcaps and beauty rings, but the seller also has the factory wheels and hubcaps available if you prefer a more original look. Inside, this Mustang has a custom, massively upgraded stereo system that's sure to impress. It's got a Kenwood head unit, Exelon speakers, and a subwoofer, all powered by its own custom-installed battery. And don't worry, the seller still has the factory stereo available if you want to go back to a more original setup. But perhaps the coolest feature of this Mustang is the factory-installed capacitor that plays "Love Me Tender" by Elvis Presley when you use the turn signals. It's currently unhooked, but it's a unique and fun feature that's sure to make you smile every time you hit the blinker. Other notable features include a dedication plaque to the original owner, which is a cool piece of history, and the original spare tire with a can of inflator, just in case you ever need it. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase, but based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this 1972 Mustang seems like a solid investment for any classic car enthusiast. So if you're ready to experience the thrill of driving a vintage Mustang, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1972 model. With its rebuilt engine, custom stereo system, and unique features like the Elvis Presley capacitor, it's sure to be a conversation starter wherever you go. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of American muscle car history. 8. We've got a real gem for you. A 1965 Plymouth Valiant that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $7,000. This coupe is a true survivor, and it's got plenty of potential for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Valiant. The seller describes it as a good solid car, which is always a good sign when you're dealing with a classic. It runs and drives, so you won't have to worry about towing it home or spending a fortune on getting it up and running. Under the hood, you'll find a reliable 6-cylinder engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This combo is known for its durability and ease of maintenance, so you can feel confident that this Valiant will keep on running for years to come. The seller also mentions that the car has good tires, which is always a plus. And if you're looking to add a little extra style to this classic, there's an extra set of Craigslist SS Chrome 5-spoke wheels with good tires included in the sale. These wheels are a classic look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Now, I know some folks might be hesitant about buying a car that's on non-op status. But don't let that deter you. This Valiant has plenty of potential for the right buyer. Whether you want to keep it as a daily driver or restore it to its former glory, this car is a great starting point. The white paint job looks clean and classic in the photos, but of course it's always a good idea to see the car in person and give it a thorough inspection before making a purchase. And with an asking price of $6,000 or best offer, there's definitely some room for negotiation here. At the end of the day, this 1965 Plymouth Valiant is a true survivor. It's got a solid foundation, a reliable drivetrain, and plenty of potential for the right buyer. And with its classic style and included extras like the Craigslist wheels, it's a great choice for anyone who's looking to get into the world of classic car ownership. So if you're ready to experience the thrill of driving a vintage Valiant, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1965 model. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one cruising down the street in this classic coupe, turning heads and making memories along the way. 9. We've got a stunning 1964 Lincoln Continental that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $15,000. This is the year that collectors dream about, and it's easy to see why. First off, let's talk about what makes this Continental so special. 1964 was a landmark year for the model, with its sleek, understated design and luxurious features, and this particular car has all the hallmarks of a true classic, from its original 430 engine to its rebuilt transmission and radiator. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what about the interior and paint? And yes, the seller does mention that this Continental will need some work in those areas. But here's the thing. This car is not a rust bucket. It's got solid floors and a straight body, which is a huge plus when you're dealing with a classic of this age. And let's talk about the potential of this car for a moment. With its original engine and rebuilt mechanicals, this Continental is a great candidate for a full restoration. Imagine taking this beauty to the next level with a fresh paint job, new interior, and all the original trim and hubcaps that the seller has included. It's the kind of project that any true classic car enthusiast would be proud to take on. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this Continental seems like a solid investment for the right buyer. And let's not forget about the provenance of this car. As a California original, it's got a history that any collector would be proud to own. Plus, with just 100,000 miles on the odometer, it's clear that this Continental has been well maintained over the years. At the end of the day, this 1964 Lincoln Continental is a true gem. It's got the style, the history, and the potential to be a real showstopper. And with its original engine, rebuilt mechanicals, and included extras, it's a great choice for anyone who's looking to take on a classic car project. So if you're ready to experience the thrill of owning a piece of automotive history, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1964 Continental. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one cruising down the street in this iconic classic, turning heads and making memories along the way. 10. We've got a real treat for you. A 1952 Packard Patrician that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,500. This is the kind of car that you don't see every day, and it's got plenty of style and character to spare. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Patrician. The seller describes it as being in nice shape, and based on the photos provided, I've got to agree. The green paint job looks great, with a nice shine that really shows off the car's classic lines. And while it's not perfect, the seller notes that the body is very straight, which is always a good sign. Under the hood, you'll find an inline flathead 6-cylinder engine that the seller says runs perfectly. And with an automatic transmission and power steering, this Patrician is a breeze to drive. The seller also notes that the engine runs cool with no overheating, which is always a plus in a classic car. Now I know the seller mentions that the brakes need some work with sticky wheel cylinders, but they also note that the brake booster has been rebuilt, which is a good start. And hey, a little bit of brake work is par for the course when you're dealing with a car that's been around for over 70 years. Inside, the seller notes that the Patrician needs some interior work, but that you could get by with seat covers and a new carpet or floor mat. And while there's some minor rust in the trunk pan and one front floor pan, the seller says that the car is still very solid overall. Plus, they even offer to fix that floor pan rust for you, which is a nice touch. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Patrician is its history. The seller notes that it was stored in a barn since the 1970s, which is the kind of provenance that any classic car collector would love to have. And as the fanciest Packard model available in 1952, this Patrician is a true piece of automotive history. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this Patrician seems like a solid investment for the right buyer. And with delivery available, you won't even have to worry about getting it home. At the end of the day, this 1952 Packard Patrician is a true classic. It's got style, character, and a history that any collector would be proud to own. And with its solid body, running engine, and included extras, it's a great choice for anyone who's looking to take on a classic car project. 11. We've got a gorgeous 1967 Ford Mustang that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $14,000. This classic pony car is in good condition and has plenty of upgrades that are sure to impress. First off, let's talk about what's under the hood. This Mustang is rocking a 351W engine that the seller says runs great. That's a lot of power for a car of this era, and it's sure to put a smile on your face every time you hit the gas. But the upgrades don't stop there. The seller has also installed a new Scott Drake rear leaf spring, as well as new front bushings, stabilizer, and front-rear shocks. These upgrades are sure to give this Mustang a smooth and comfortable ride, even on the roughest of roads. Now let's talk about the exterior. This Mustang is sporting a beautiful purple paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The seller notes that the exterior is in good condition, which is always a plus when you're dealing with a classic car. Inside, the interior is also said to be in good condition. The seller doesn't provide many details, but based on the photos, it looks like a comfortable and inviting place to spend some time behind the wheel. One thing to note is that this Mustang has an automatic transmission and manual steering. Some purists might prefer a manual gearbox, but there's no denying the convenience of an automatic, especially in a car of this age. The seller does mention one small issue. The output shaft seal needs to be replaced. But don't let that deter you. It's a $5 part that's easy to fix, and it's a small price to pay for a car of this caliber. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this 1967 Mustang seems like a solid investment for any classic car enthusiast. So if you're ready to experience the thrill of driving a vintage Mustang, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1967 model. With its powerful engine, upgraded suspension, and beautiful purple paint job, it's sure to be a conversation starter wherever you go. And with a clean title in hand, you can feel confident that you're getting a car with a clear history. Don't miss out on the chance to own a piece of American muscle car history. This 1967 Ford Mustang is waiting for you on Craigslist, and it's ready to hit the road and make some memories. So what are you waiting for? Go check it out before someone else beats you to it. 12. We've got a unique find for you. A 1967 Ford Ranchero that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for $12,500 or best offer. This classic pickup car hybrid is a rare sight on the road today, and it's got plenty of potential for the right buyer. Now, I want to be upfront with you. The seller describes the condition of this Ranchero as fair. That means it's not in perfect shape, and it may have some wear and tear that comes with age. The odometer is also broken, so we don't know exactly how many miles are on this baby. But don't let that deter you from considering this classic. The seller has made some significant upgrades to the mechanicals, including new brakes with new wheel and master cylinders, as well as new wheel bearings and seals. The rear shocks have also been replaced, which should give this Ranchero a smoother ride. Under the hood, you'll find a 289 V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This is a classic Ford powertrain that's known for its reliability and power, so you can feel confident that this Ranchero has plenty of get up and go. Now, the seller doesn't provide many details about the exterior or interior condition of this Ranchero. Based on the photos, it looks like the paint may be faded or worn in some spots, and there may be some dings or dents that come with age. But that's all part of the charm of owning a classic car. It's not supposed to be perfect, it's supposed to have character. Inside, we don't get a clear look at the interior, but based on the age of this Ranchero, it's safe to assume that it may need some updating or restoration. But again, that's all part of the fun of owning a classic. You get to make it your own and put your own stamp on it. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. And with an asking price of $12,500 or best offer, there may be some room for negotiation here. At the end of the day, this 1967 Ford Ranchero is a unique and rare find. It's got a classic Ford powertrain, some significant upgrades to the mechanicals, and plenty of potential for the right buyer. And with delivery available, you won't even have to worry about getting it home. 13. We've got a 1966 Pontiac Ventura that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,500. This classic coupe is a true barn find, and it's got plenty of potential for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about what makes this Ventura so special. Under the hood, you'll find a 455 four-barrel engine that's been swapped in place of the original 389. This is a serious upgrade that's sure to give this Ventura some serious power. And with a turbo 400 hydromatic transmission, you can be sure that this baby will shift smoothly and reliably. But the upgrades don't stop there. This Ventura also has power steering and power brakes, which is a nice touch for a car of this age. And with dual exhaust, you can be sure that this Ventura will sound as good as it looks. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But what about the condition? Well, the seller describes this Ventura as being in good condition, which is pretty impressive for a barn find. Of course, there may be some wear and tear that comes with age, but overall, this Ventura seems to be a solid car. The seller also notes that there's a fresh new radiator in the trunk, along with 4 correct 14-inch spinner hubcaps. These are nice extras that will come in handy when it comes time to restore or upgrade this Ventura. Speaking of restoration, the seller mentions that this Ventura could be brought back as a drag racer or whatever else you might have in mind, and with just 87,000 miles on the odometer, there's plenty of life left in this classic. The red paint job looks pretty nice in the photos, but of course, it's always a good idea to see the car in person to get a better sense of its condition. And with a clean title, you can be sure that there are no hidden surprises when it comes to ownership. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this 1966 Pontiac Ventura seems like a solid investment for any classic car enthusiast. So if you're ready to take on a classic car project that's got plenty of potential, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1966 Ventura. With its upgraded engine, power features, and included extras, it's a great choice for anyone who wants to bring a piece of Pontiac history back to life. 14. We've got a stunning 1968 Pontiac Le Mans that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $14,000. And let me tell you, this classic beauty is in absolutely incredible condition. First off, let's talk about the overall condition of this Le Mans. The seller describes it as like new, and based on the photos provided, I've got to agree. The green paint job looks absolutely flawless, with a deep shine that really shows off the car's classic lines. And with all new tires and brakes, this Le Mans is ready to hit the road in style. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. And with power steering and cold AC, this Le Mans is a breeze to drive, even on the hottest of days. The seller notes that the car runs and drives like new, which is a testament to the care and attention that's been put into this classic. Inside, the interior is just as impressive as the exterior. The seller describes it as super clean, and based on the photos, it looks like it's been well maintained over the years. The seats look comfortable and inviting, and the dash and console are in great shape. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What's the catch? Well, there isn't one. This Le Mans has just 56,129 miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. And with a clean title, you can be sure that there are no hidden surprises when it comes to ownership. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Le Mans is the fact that it's been outfitted with all new parts. From the tires to the brakes to the AC components, everything has been replaced or upgraded to ensure that this classic runs and drives like a dream. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this 1968 Pontiac Le Mans seems like an absolute gem. And let's talk about the price for a moment. At just $14,000, this Le Mans is an absolute steal. You'd be hard-pressed to find another classic in this condition for anywhere near that price. And with no trades accepted, you can be sure that the seller is serious about finding the right buyer for this incredible car. So if you're ready to experience the thrill of driving a classic Pontiac that's been meticulously maintained and upgraded, head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1968 Le Mans. With its flawless paint job, super clean interior, and all new parts, it's the kind of car that you'll be proud to show off at any classic car event. 15. We've got a very cool 1973 Ford Gran Torino that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $9,800. This vintage sedan is the perfect ride for any old car guy on a budget who wants to experience the thrill of driving a classic. First off, let's talk about what makes this Gran Torino so special. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 3.5-to-1 V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. And with power steering and power brakes, this car is a breeze to drive. The air conditioner is still intact, although it's not currently working. But hey, who needs AC when you've got the wind in your hair and the rumble of a classic V8 under the hood? Now I want to be upfront with you. This Gran Torino isn't perfect. The seller describes its condition as good, which means there may be a few dings and dents here and there. But that's all part of the charm of owning a classic car. The important thing is that this Gran Torino is very presentable and gets a bunch of compliments wherever it goes. One thing that really stands out about this car is how little rust it has. The seller notes that there are just a few bubbles above one fender, which is pretty impressive for a 50-year-old car. And while the vinyl top has been removed, the bodywork from that has been redone in a few spots. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Gran Torino is its low mileage. The odometer is showing just 50,000 miles, which the seller believes to be correct based on the overall condition of the car. That's incredibly low for a vehicle of this age, and it's a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this 1973 Ford Gran Torino seems like a solid investment for any classic car enthusiast. And let's talk about the price for a moment. At just $9,800, this Gran Torino is an absolute steal. You'd be hard-pressed to find another classic in this condition with this low of mileage for anywhere near that price. It's the perfect opportunity for someone who wants to experience the thrill of driving a vintage car without breaking the bank. So if you're ready to hit the road in a very cool and very fun 1973 Ford Gran Torino, head on over to Craigslist and check out this listing. With its powerful V8 engine, low mileage, and minimal rust, this car is sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel. 16. We've got a real treat for you. A 1964 Chevrolet Corvair Monza convertible that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at just $7,400, and let me tell you, it's a steal. Now I know what you're thinking. A car this old must be in rough shape, right? Well, think again. The seller is being completely upfront about the condition of this Corvair, and it's actually in pretty darn good shape. The ad says it starts up every time, drives and brakes straight, and all the lights, gauges, and even the horn are in working order. That's impressive for a car that's almost 60 years old. But wait, there's more. This Corvair has solid floors and rockers, with virtually no rust. That's a huge plus for a classic car like this. And get this, it's got a rare factory air conditioning system. Sure, the AC engine parts aren't currently in the car, but they come in a box with the sale. That's a bonus that you don't often find on cars from this era. The interior is also in excellent condition, which is a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. And speaking of care, the original owner only drove it for a year or two before it was tucked away in a garage until 2018. That's when a Corvair mechanic scooped it up, and the odometer reading of just 7,800 miles might even be original. Now, I did mention that the seller is being honest about the car's condition, and there are a couple of issues to note. The convertible top could use a replacement, and there's a small leak in the transmission near differential. But don't let that scare you off. The seller tops off the trans fluid every 6 weeks or so, and it doesn't stop them from enjoying this awesome ride. All in all, this 1964 Chevrolet Corvair Monza is a fantastic find. It's a dependable, great driving classic with a clean title and a cool 5-digit Delaware tag. And at just $7,400 or best offer, it's a bargain for any enthusiast looking for a fun, vintage convertible. Just remember, it's being sold as is, so be prepared to give it a little TLC. But trust me, it'll be worth it when you're cruising down the road in this sweet piece of American automotive history. 17. We've got a real beast of a machine to talk about. A 1984 Pontiac Fiero that's been given a serious power upgrade. This bad boy is up for sale on Craigslist, and the asking price is a cool $10,000. Now I know what you're thinking. A Fiero with a V8? That's right. This isn't your average 4-cylinder Fiero. The seller has swapped in a massive 383 cubic inch motor, which is sure to turn heads and leave other cars in the dust. And get this, the motor has less than 50 miles on it, so it's practically brand new. But the upgrades don't stop there. The seller has also installed a new MagnaForce clutch, which has less than 10 miles on it. That means this Fiero is ready to handle all the power that the 383 can throw at it. The ad states that the car is in excellent condition, and based on the details provided, I'm inclined to believe it. The odometer shows just 67,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. The paint color is a cool green, and the title is clean, so you won't have to worry about any legal issues. Now, I do want to point out that the seller hasn't provided a ton of details about the rest of the car. We don't know anything about the interior condition, the suspension, or any other potential issues. But given the low mileage, and the fact that the seller is asking $10,000 or best offer, I'm guessing that this Fiero is in pretty good shape overall. Of course, as with any heavily modified car, there are some things to keep in mind. A 383 cubic inch motor is a lot of power for a small car like the Fiero, so it's going to require an experienced driver to handle it safely. And with that much power, you'll want to make sure that the brakes, suspension, and other components are up to the task of keeping everything under control. But if you're a serious enthusiast looking for a unique and powerful ride, this 1984 Pontiac Fiero with a 383 motor could be just what you're looking for. It's a rare find, and with the low mileage and recent upgrades, it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Just be prepared to pay a premium for all that power. $10,000 is no small chunk of change. But if you've got the skills and the budget, this Fiero could be the ride of your dreams. 18. We're talking about not one but two classic Oldsmobile 98s from the late 1970s, and they're both up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,000. That's right, you're getting two for the price of one. First up, we've got a 1978 Oldsmobile 98 Regency in a sleek black paint job. This beauty has just under 50,000 miles on the odometer, which is pretty darn low for a car that's over 40 years old. Now, I do want to be upfront with you. The seller does mention that this car needs some work. But hey, that's part of the fun of owning a classic ride, right? The good news is that the interior is said to be in great shape, so you won't have to worry about any major upholstery or dashboard repairs. And with a clean title and a powerful 8-cylinder engine under the hood, this Olds 98 has a lot of potential for the right buyer. But wait, there's more. For that same $6,000 price tag, you're also getting a bonus car, a gold Oldsmobile 98 LS from the late 1970s. The seller doesn't provide too many details about this second car, but hey, it's essentially a freebie at this point. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if I don't want both cars? Well, fear not, because the seller is willing to work with you. If you only want one of the Oldsmobiles, just let them know, and they'll work out a deal. And here's the best part. The seller is even offering delivery. That's right. You don't have to worry about arranging transportation for these classic rides. Just give the seller a call. They prefer phone calls over texts, and they'll make it happen. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's important to do your due diligence. These cars are over 40 years old, so they're going to need some TLC. But if you're handy with cars, or you're looking for a project to sink your teeth into, these Oldsmobile 98s could be a great choice. And even if you're not planning on restoring them to their former glory, these cars could be a goldmine for parts. The seller even suggests parting them out if that's more your style. All in all, this is a unique opportunity to own a piece, or two pieces, of American automotive history. The Oldsmobile 98 was a classic full-size luxury car in its day, and these two examples from the late 1970s are sure to turn heads wherever they go. So if you've got $6,000 burning a hole in your pocket and a love for classic cars, give the seller a call and see if you can work out a deal. Who knows? You might just end up with the project car or cars of your dreams. 19. We've got a real gem to talk about, a 1973 Pontiac Grand Prix that's up for sale in Milwaukee. This beauty is being offered at $9,995, and let me tell you, it's got a lot going for it. First off, this Grand Prix has had just 2 owners in its lifetime, which is always a good sign. It means that the car has likely been well cared for over the years. The odometer shows approximately 138,000 miles, which might seem like a lot at first glance. But don't let that number scare you off, because this car has been given plenty of love and attention under the hood. The seller mentions that the motor was rebuilt around 40,000 miles ago by the previous owner, and they even added a mild cam for a little extra oomph. The motor itself is a beefy 400 cubic inch unit with a 4-barrel carburetor, so you know it's got plenty of power to spare. And with an automatic transmission, this Grand Prix is a breeze to drive. But the upgrades don't stop there. The car has also been fitted with a newer radiator, power steering, brakes and battery, so it's ready to hit the road with confidence. The seller even goes so far as to say that they'd drive this car across the country tomorrow, which is a pretty bold statement. Now, I do want to point out a couple of things that potential buyers should be aware of. The car was painted years ago, so the paint job might not be perfect. And while the interior is said to be pretty good overall, with a great headliner, dash and seats, the seller does mention that the trunk pan and weather-stripping rubber molding could use some attention. But honestly, those are relatively minor issues in the grand scheme of things. This 1973 Pontiac Grand Prix is a classic American muscle car that's been well maintained and upgraded in all the right places. It runs and drives great, and with a clean title, you can be confident that you're getting a solid vehicle. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before handing over any cash. But if everything checks out, this Grand Prix could be a fantastic addition to any enthusiast's collection. And at just under $10,000, it's priced pretty competitively for a car of this caliber. Sure, it's not a perfect show car, but it's a driver-quality classic that's ready to hit the road and turn heads wherever it goes. So if you're in the market for a vintage American muscle car with plenty of power and personality, this 1973 Pontiac Grand Prix is definitely worth a closer look. Give the seller a call, schedule a test drive, and see for yourself what makes this car so special. Who knows, you might just fall in love and drive it home. 20. We've got a real treat for you. A 1985 Oldsmobile Delta 88 that's up for grabs. And let me tell you, this thing is a true time capsule. First off, can we talk about how clean this car is? The seller mentions that it's super clean and that everything is original, which is a testament to how well it's been cared for over the years. This Delta 88 has been garage kept, so you know it hasn't been sitting out in the elements gathering rust and grime. Under the hood, you'll find a V8 305 engine that's ready to rumble. The seller doesn't mention anything about the engine's condition, so we'll assume it runs as smoothly as the day it left the factory. And with just 98,000 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. But the real selling point of this Delta 88 is the fact that everything works as it should. The heat and air conditioning are both in good working order, which is a big plus for a car of this age. And if you're worried about security, don't be. This car comes with an alarm system to keep it safe and sound. Now let's talk about those wheels. The seller mentions that the car comes with brand new 24-inch Ruchis, which are sure to turn heads wherever you go. And if that's not your style, the car also comes with white walls for a more classic look. The asking price for this beauty is $10,000, but the seller is willing to let it go for $5,000 without the Ruchis. That's a pretty fair price for a car that's in such great condition and has so many original features. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before handing over any cash. The seller doesn't mention anything about the car's maintenance history or any potential issues, so it's up to the buyer to do their due diligence. But if everything checks out, this 1985 Oldsmobile Delta 88 could be a fantastic addition to any classic car collection. It's a true piece of American automotive history, and with its clean condition and original features, it's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. The seller does make a point to mention that they're not interested in any scams, shipping, or trades. They're only looking for serious buyers who appreciate old-school rides. And honestly, I can't blame them. A car like this deserves to go to someone who will love and appreciate it for what it is. So if you're in the market for a classic American sedan with plenty of style and character, this 1985 Oldsmobile Delta 88 is definitely worth a closer look. Give the seller a call, schedule a test drive, and see for yourself what makes this car so special. Who knows? You might just fall in love and drive it home.